This is a movie review. Pain and Glory is the name of the movie. It's directed by the Spanish director Pedro Almodovar. I've been a big fan of this guy over the years. A Spanish director. All of his movies are in subtitles, but they're generally easy to get a hang of, and the storylines are excellent, and the cinematography and the use of colours is quite superb. So I was looking forward to this. And I have to say I wasn't disappointed. Almodovar is usually responsible for the writing, as he is in this project. It came out in 2019. So I'm going to go through the cast now, the main members of the cast, that is. And in the lead role, as Salvador Malo, is Antonio Banderas. As a child, Salvador is played by Asia Flores. And Asia Extenandia is responsible for the character Alberto Crespo, who's a gay lover of Salvador. Leonardo Sarabragliaria is Federico Delgado. And I just want to make a point. There is of course, as always, a slide with the cast on, but a very good performance by Penelope Cruz, who plays Jacinta, Salvador's mother, when Salvador's a young boy, and also his mother later in life, towards the last few months of her life. She's played by Julieta Serrano. So those two are worth mentioning. Okay, I'm going to get on to now the plot and my thoughts. Antonio Banderas, he's appeared in a number of Almodovar's movies in the 80s, and also a few years back he was the lead character in a movie, The Skin I Live In, which was an excellent movie, and I can thoroughly recommend it. To this film, then, Delgado is befriended by Salvador early on, and they become lovers, and he becomes the subject of a character in a film that Salvador is directing, and more about that a bit later. Another significant figure that I didn't mention was Nora Naves, who plays Mercedes. She's a female's friend who takes care of Salvador, and she's a bit like a housekeeper friend, particularly as he's someone who suffers from a number of ailments and illnesses, some of them quite serious. Almodovar's latest movie is seen by many as akin to an autobiographical reflection on his life through the portrayal of a director, Salvador, played by Banderas. He's in sort of semi-retirement when we greet him at the beginning of the film, and this is due principally to his continued ill health. And the film shifts between events in the here and now as an old man and memories of himself as a child, aged probably about 12 years of age, when he's living with his parents in abject poverty. Through flashbacks, we gather an acknowledgement of how Salvador developed a love for words, a love for film, and for his warm relationship with his mother, played by Cruz. And throughout the film, through flashbacks, we get a glimpse of his sexual development and how he comes to be sexually aware. Interest in the male body is quite deliberate, and he becomes attracted through the facial mannerisms early on by males. We witness the man Eduardo's painting the walls of the property where Salvador lived. It's more like a cave, really, that they live in, but he takes a shower after doing his work, and the camera pans over his naked body, and we see the young Salvador looking inquisitively at the man's buttocks and penis. This appears to be the awakening of homosexual desires in the boy, and this is covered considerably in the movie throughout the film. And we see three significant relationships that Salvador has with male figures. As a young boy, he teaches a villager, and he becomes a very warm relationship as the man is extremely thankful for the assistance that he gets from the young Salvador in learning to read and write. And his talent and flair for art comes through uh, following a drawing that the man makes of the young Salvador. And this later appears in an art gallery that Salvador visits with Mercedes. The portrait is spotted by Salvador, and of course, it was painted by this person, Eduardo. And he, of course, was the man that awakened this sort of sexual desire. And the implication is that they were probably lovers. Secondly, we explore his love-hate relationship with Alberto. Alberto was a star in one of Salvador's movies. And after the release of one of the movies which Alberto starred in, they have a falling out and they their ways. Very much a case of how Salvador sees Alberto changing the script to something that he didn't approve of, and that lays down the gauntlet for the disagreement in this situation. The movie, which was very popular, was later re-released when obviously Salvador was somewhat older, and Alberto reconnects with Salvador following this re-release. They need to do some promotional work together, and they get involved in a presentation of the re-released movie. And this brings about a very poignant scene, meeting after a gap of some 20 odd years. Conflicts and genuine affection re-emerge. And then the third relationship, a renewed interest in this movie. Salvador is reconnected with the main character in the movie, one of Federico Delgado, the character that Salvador wrote the film about. And this, he clearly was a previous lover of Salvador's. But the man has moved on somewhat and become married and has children. However, he meets Salgado again, and the nostalgia and the powerful emotions are rekindled, albeit briefly. Their vulnerability and their likability. But it's really quite powerful how these are dealt with by the director. Banderas' performance is subtle, not over dramatic, but he's able to show a deep sense and awareness and a sensitivity and for the nostalgia and those warm memories illustrated particularly when we see him with his mother, his desires, recalling the men he was attracted to, and lots of positivity here. Excellent portrayal by Banderas. Some scenes are really worth noting. Early on in his school, but Salvado's talent as a singer shines through in music class when he's teaching the illiterate labourer Eduardo, and then describing his list of ailments later on. We get two visual pictures of the anatomy, a bit like a physiology lecture. And then, as a boy, reacting very angry to the thought of going to a religious school to continue his education, which certainly hinted that in future life he wasn't likely to be a follower of Catholicism, which was very much intrinsic in daily life as a young boy. And then, of course, his last days with his dying mother, particularly emotionally powerful. So throughout, Banderas narrates, and he's constantly referring to his health issues. Particularly, he has a choking fit. He has a number of back problems. And he also narrates his feelings about the lovers that he has had. And when he reunites with Alberto, they restart a shared use of heroin, an activity that they enjoyed doing We also see the scene with the mother and a need for him to express how he felt that he neglected her as a boy. And the question is asked, how much of this is perhaps an autobiographical sharing of the heroine and the other characters as gay lovers, suggesting could there possibly have been this relationship between Banderas and Almodovar, although that might be stretching it a little bit far, it has to be said. But look at it yourself and you may well see that this is a possible interpretation because they have had a lifelong friendship and have been involved in a number of projects together. And so it isn't beyond the powers of possibility that this might well be the crux of the plot here. So the title of this movie, of course, is called Pain and Glory. The pain maybe represents his own mortality, his own body not functioning as well as it ought to be, the aches and pains and illnesses that he experiences, and the glory symbolized by the memories of a youth of being a successful director involved in the culture of movie making. Overall, it's an excellent piece of work, such that it was quite well received by the awards bodies. For example, Banderas received a nomination for an Oscar for his performance, and the movie was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film. At the Golden Globes, it also got a nomination for that Best Foreign Language Film. So there we have it. It's Pain and Glory, movie directed and written for the screen by Pedro Almodovar, and in the lead role, the excellent Antonio Banderas.